like I'm running out of time. You gotta get yours, I gotta get mine. Not really sure where we're headed to. I just hope that you make it when I do.
All right, have and have not Oval fans. Quick reminder that 1 month from today will mark the return of the haves and the have-nots, and think about it. A month from now, hopefully within a week or 2 weeks tops, we'll have a full-length trailer. But from this perspective, January 7th, it's 5:55 p.m. That's the time I'm recording the video. So just so you know, if I post this up late or if you watch it sometime later tonight or later this week, just know it's 5:55 p.m. on December 7th when I'm recording this. Just trying to paint the picture. Imagine almost 6 p.m. on January 7th. Depending on if OWN will do their usual formula, they might upload a couple of 10 to 15 second clips of the episode and give us an idea of what's to come tonight. Probably suspense about the Criers and possibly David and Jeffrey, and having to wait an additional 3 hours to watch the show at 6 p.m. and it's like crap, 9 p.m. But at least it'll be coming back. I don't know what they're going to do, like a mini marathon leading up to the episode, like if they'll spend most of January the 7th playing season 6 over again. I mean, there's only 10 episodes, so honestly it wouldn't even be that much of a marathon, so they might do it. But in any case, I have no doubt that they will at least play the episode Show Not Tell before leading into the finale. Imagine watching the Criers getting shot all over again, then we get a recap of last season, and then we jump right into episode 1. Are you happy? So that intro aside, this video is about Veronica and Victoria, and I actually did a video on them a few weeks ago because Tyler Perry Studios dropped a video where Victoria's on the phone with Veronica and it looks like she's telling her off, and I'm like, damn, that's a bold statement. There's a new V in town. I'm like, ew. And I was thinking about it earlier this week when I was doing some have and have not videos, and in the videos I literally said, dang, I'm forgetting some of the characters' name, like Kyle, but then I forgot the dude that wants to replace his job, the one who was actually in Too Close to Home. Then there are other characters who I struggled to remember their names in the middle of the video, and I'm like, okay, with the Oval getting better and better with each episode and the haves and the have-nots being gone for so long, yeah, I hope Veronica comes back strong, because I know this is a bold statement to make, but hell, she might get left in the dust at this rate. I praised the episode The Dark Sheep of the Oval that came on this week, because the opening scene was about 7 minutes of Victoria expositing to Max about her backstory, and I'm like, I'm not usually a fan of info dumps like that, but it was actually done very well. The performance was there, the dialogue was on point, the delivery, as well as allowing viewers to understand more about who Victoria is, why she is the way she is, and what's to possibly happen in the future. So I'm just saying that the poll I put up, I want to say yesterday, it wasn't that long ago. I know I just put up a poll about, who's more cold-blooded, Victoria or Veronica. I mean, the votes, I can't remember the last time I saw a number of votes that high. I think it's well over 800 and over 89, about, 89% Veronica, 11% Victoria. A majority of the comments were like, it's far too early to tell how cold-blooded Victoria is, which is a very valid point. Not to mention, you have to look at the fact that they're dealing with different circumstances, where Veronica was paranoid David was cheating, he was not. And I know what you're about to say, Maggie Day and Erica. Number one, Erica, that happened after the divorce was filed. Maggie Day didn't happen until well after David was done with Veronica. She literally pushed her into Maggie Day's arms to, have sex after she had sex with Benny multiple times, and David was saying, I can't get you out of jail yet. Remember, because Jennifer had everybody arrested. David and Catherine were the only ones out, and Veronica wanted out, but David knew about the hit Jim had put out on Veronica, so getting Veronica out of jail and her going home would mean, she would get killed, but he never told her that. So it got to the point where he got extremely fed up and then finally had sex with Maggie Day. But remember, this was well after she had sex with Benny multiple times. And then as the show went on, we learned that she had multiple affairs on David behind his back, including Jeffrey's real father, William. So with that being said, you have to look at the fact that Victoria is rightfully suspicious. I don't even think suspicious is the right word. Rightfully aware of what Hunter's doing and isn't afraid to get into a whore's face or beat him up, as we saw with Denise a couple of weeks ago. Now, you also have to take into account that they're dealing with different circumstances when it comes to their children, where Jeffrey's gay, Veronica refused to accept it. And when it comes to Gail and Jason, you have one who's a bona fide creeper and the other one who's just a wild party girl, who definitely seems like a merger of both parents, in regards to Hunter just being reckless and careless and wants to throw everything away. I mean, literally, she doesn't care about being in the White House, and I think we can just tell that Hunter doesn't care about it either, based off what Victoria's saying. She was the one that was able to push him into what she wanted him to be in order to boost her own social status and power. So you also look at the fact that, well, Gail, in a lot of ways, is kind of a bitch like her mom, too. So, yeah, she's definitely a merger of both parents. Jason, on the other hand, is a hard case to solve. I think we still need to look a little bit more into his character. We just know he's a creeper. Obviously, isn't above putting his hand below a woman's skirt or whatever. So you could tell he definitely gets that from his father. But I guess you could say Hunter is a bit more discreet about it. If I guess you could say that. He wasn't obviously rubbing up on Denise at the inauguration like, Jason walking around groping people. So, yeah. But in any case, you have to also think resources. Despite Veronica's plethora of connections and whatnot, you have to admit, at first glance, First Lady versus the First V. Or, excuse me, First Lady versus the Ice Queen. Kind of thinking that Victoria has the upper hand. I mean, once again, Veronica did mention to Benny one time when she was suspecting that, what was it, like the Secret Service or the FBI? Look, guys, it's been a while. Remember, it was after Quincy Jr. was killed and they were at the hospital, and then I think it was Justin and then a detective that had Benny arrested, I think involving the Quincy Maxwell murder. Oh, yeah, that's right, because didn't Charles say that Benny could take the fall so Candace could go with him to the White House? So I know that when he was at the police station, they were kind of switching in between a regular police officer and then, was it Secret Service or the FBI? Guys, please don't assault me in the comments. It has been a while. I forgot. I know it was someone higher up. And in any case, Veronica, who came in to talk with Benny as his legal counsel, said that, honey, I appreciate the vote of confidence, but even I can't deal that high, because Benny was suspecting Veronica was the one behind all this because of the fact they had a falling out. But Veronica pretty much assured him that she couldn't even play at the FBI or Secret Service level. Again, I forgot the exact office that was holding him there, but in any case, we found that was kind of debunked when she fended off the FBI agents who had her quote unquote not arrested when they took her in for questioning, but she pretty much was able to deflect every charge that was thrown at her. So I guess you could say that Veronica couldn't invoke the power of the FBI for her schemes, but she's good enough to defend herself against the FBI. That's a fair assumption. But yeah, when you're dealing with people who have control of the FBI and other armed forces, pretty sure Victoria could rain hell down on whatever thugs or associates that Veronica, associates herself with. So if you're looking clearly at who has more cards in their deck, Victoria. If you're looking at who isn't above doing what it takes to win, I would say Veronica. But once again, we're only 7 episodes into the Oval. It really isn't fair to even compare the two. The similarities are definitely there, but at the same time, we really don't know the limit of what Victoria is capable of, because when it comes to Veronica, And when she wants something done, it gets done. With Victoria, she has to go through the chain of command. She is the first lady, but she's not the president. Think of it that way. Also, you have to look at it from the perspective of Veronica burned houses, had people killed, blew up cars. I mean, obviously, some of these things she didn't do her. Well, no, I'm pretty sure she set Veronica and Erica's vehicles on David and Erica's vehicles on fire herself, but then had that one dude bomb it. So, yeah, she isn't above getting her hands dirty when the situation needs it. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. It's like I feel like Veronica has been shown to get her hands dirty, when it comes to Maggie or Erica, in terms of like fist fights and whatnot. She's one to really fight with her words before using her fist. She's one to rather get someone else to do her dirty work for her. But at the same time, when it's super personal, then she's going to get involved her damn self, whether it be breaking property, whack a dumb hoe. But Victoria, she will orchestrate situations, as we saw of her going to Denise's boutique and then whooping her ass herself. So I feel like Veronica has less limiting factors around her, because obviously the first lady can't be seen in cat fights. She has to disguise it as going on a shopping trip. So you could argue that Victoria has to be more discreet, but that doesn't mean she's less dangerous. She just has to be very careful about how she does things. Veronica just needs to make sure that her fingerprints and footprints are covered. But the whole cigarette butt thing, I hope they address the cigarette butt outside of David's house, because I get it. That was meant for us to notice. That wasn't something, I mean, obviously people noticed her expensive heels, but at the same time, I still think that was a dumb move. That was completely out of character and careless, but we will have to see what happens with that. I'm pretty sure that's going to be used for DNA or whatever, but I just think that was pretty dumb, because if, let's say, she did assume David and Jeffrey and everyone else in the house were killed, and she left the scene, and then the police found the cigarette butt and then traced that back to her, then they can obviously assume that she was involved, and she wouldn't want that. So, with that being said, I think that it's still too early to make a personal call. I think that Victoria is making one hell of an impact, and really, without Veronica, there would be no Victoria. I think that's safe to say, because I really do believe Tyler Perry saw the success of the Veronica character on the Haves and the Have-Nots and decided, okay, these will be two shows on a big network like BET, The Sisters, and Oval. What I need to do is create a Veronica-like character in order to get people involved in the show. But I guess you can make the argument that with Veronica on the Haves and Have-Nots, she slowly became the Ice Queen. We saw glimpses of it here and there in season 1, but she didn't really make that full transformation, until, in my opinion, until she, wrecked the bar in the Sarandon Hotel. That was probably like the defining moment of her character in terms of her complete shift. And then with Victoria, she just out of the gate was a bad bitch. And it's like, okay, easily a fan favorite. But at the same time, I want to know more about her character. Why is she the way she is? And another comparison I didn't think to mention until now is I noticed some comments on my video about should Victoria leave Hunter? And they were like, wow, that is cold-blooded. The fact that she clearly married Hunter only for social status and whatnot, and to only boost her own potential. It's kind of like, Veronica kept saying over and over again that she made David who he is and he wouldn't be anything without her. But with Victoria and Hunter, it's clear that he wouldn't be in the position that he's in without her. So we can actually see that her claims actually have evidence to back it up. I mean, on the side of Veronica and David, to be honest, what's the saying behind every great man, there's a great woman? I believe that's the quote. Honestly, I wouldn't know, been single too long for me to actually know if that's true or not. Not sounding bitter, I'm just trying to put my life into it, and honestly, I don't know. If that's the truth, who knows? I mean, because I'm doing a lot now, but if I had a good woman beside me, not behind me or whatever the case may be, who knows what kind of potential I'll unlock. But, this ain't a dating service. This is YouTube. But with David, I mean, he definitely sounds like a competent kind of man, at least, based off what we've seen. But it is true. Sometimes, there are situations where not just a man in general, but let's just say a person in a relationship or a friendship they have goals and whatnot, but then they have someone who's kind of pushing them to go even further because they see the potential in them. And with David and Veronica, I don't know if Veronica saw David as a opportunity because she saw it, or if she genuinely fell in love with him. I'm going to say that there may have been a point where love was a factor, but Veronica wasn't above cheating on him. Hell, for all we know, she was probably cheating with David before they were even married. I'm talking about when they were, as David would say, we were courting each other, and then we got engaged and got married. And we had a few rough patches here and there, but we made it through, and we had Jeffrey. Unbeknownst to him, it was William's baby. Now, what was the episode? A New Leaf, where she divulged the information about David possibly not being the father and William being the father. What did she say? We were going through a rough time in our marriage, and I was seeing William, found out I was pregnant, the baby was his, but then I found out he was gay because honestly, I was going to leave you to be with him. So, continuity wise, I do not know when Veronica got addicted to pain medication and became an alcoholic and then had to go to rehab, came out, started her own facility. I do not know if that was before or after Jeffrey was born. If they mention that in the show, tell me in the comments. Once again, I apologize, but the show's been gone for 6 months, and the videos I've been doing in between time have been speculation/discussion. So bear with me. I know I'm I'm known as the encyclopedia of the haves and have-nots, but I'm only human. I feel like Veronica saying that she's the one that made David. Let's say that's true. Let's say that David may have had a successful career as a lawyer/attorney or whatever or whatever the situation he would have been in. Who knows if Veronica was the one that pushed him to, try to be a judge. Or I feel like, what is it? Catherine said Veronica wasn't a friend. She was only associated with Catherine in order to help her own social status. But maybe she was like trying to keep up with the Joneses, if you will, being a black family. She wanted to, hey, you know what? Jim Cryer's a judge. Why don't you become a judge, David? Kind of like competing, if you will. And as a result, David and Jim were equals in terms of professions. But at the same time, David was kind of a lackey, so to speak. I think Maggie Day mentioned that, Jim's always the one in the spotlight. You're the one in the shadow. I mean, you look at it from another comparison, Batman and Robin, as he grew up, became Nightwing and whatnot, he became just as skilled as Batman, or better in some areas. But at the same time, he was known as the boy wonder to some, despite how much he had matured and how much experience he had gained. So when it comes to David and Jim, you have to look at the fact that Veronica may not have been satisfied with the fact that David was never going to be top dog. He was always going to be Jim's second fiddle. But at the same time, they were still cool at the governor's mansion because lieutenant governor. That's right. Governor for Jim, lieutenant governor for David. So I feel like, even if Veronica was the reason David was as successful as he was, you have to factor in that I'm going to assume her whole addiction and everything occurred after they were married. But I really don't know the whole Jeffrey situation, where Jeffrey fit into this. But I feel that David helped Veronica out. I mean, think of it this way: with Veronica being as controlling and a cold, simple bitch, and it's just, imagine David divorcing Veronica at that point, kicking her to the curb because of her addiction, her irate behavior and everything. But he stuck by her through all that. But who's to tell? Possibly he may have had a mistress when she was in rehab. You never know, because we do have a new character coming in this season. So I'm just saying. But I feel that when it comes down to it, David was there for Veronica no matter what. So, not to mention, raising a son that isn't his. Of course, he didn't know that. So Veronica can say that she built up David all she wanted to, but at the same time, he was the one that helped hold things together when she wasn't able to be the one who was wearing the pants in a relationship, because she was going through her own problems and battling her own demons, and David stuck through it no matter what. So this was a very good video. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I dug a little deeper than I thought I would. Not really a good time to go into detail about who's better. It's almost like the Marvel versus DC bout. well, technically Marvel's winning the movie battle, but you know what I mean. It's like it's fair to like them both. Both of them have good traits and qualities, but obviously it's almost like Deadpool versus Deathstroke or Pokemon versus Digimon. One is the OG, the other one seemed to be a carbon copy, but they both have traits that make them unique. I would love to see a crossover between the two. Like Angela, she could be on the halves and the oval at some point, but she doesn't have to be Veronica Harrington. She could be another character who is a Veronica-esque character. For all, let's say that Victoria and Veronica were old friends back in the day. You never know. Maybe they went to college together. I know that. Well, no, they probably didn't because what was it? Victoria went to Harvard, and well, did they ever mention what college that Jim, David, and Veronica went to? I just know they all met up in law school apparently. So, I mean, it's possible. You never know. I mean, but let's say if Angela portrayed a Veronica, and I'm using air quotes here, Veronica character in the Oval, then she could have easily went to Harvard with Victoria. Who knows? But in any case, I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who do you think's more cold-blooded? I'm still sticking to my guns. It's far too early to determine that. I just hope that, and I'm going to make a bold statement. I know I keep using the word bold, but really, because sometimes I say stuff that people just go off on me in the comments. It is possible that if done right, Victoria could be a better character than Veronica. And you're like, Jeremy, how dare you? Character. If you've been a long-time fan of this channel, or you at least went through my HAHN discussion playlist, you know that I have some gripes about Veronica. The main thing being a lack of character. Sure, she's the reason a lot of people watch the show. She's the reason that cliffhangers and season premieres are great, because there's no telling what kind of crazy shit she's going to pull off. But I don't care how many houses you burn down, cars you blow up, cat fights you get in. If I don't really know the reason behind why you're doing what you're doing, if it has something to do with your past or whatever, then it's just show without substance. But with Victoria at the beginning of episode 7, a dump of information about why she is the way she is. Yeah, there are still some stones that need to be unturned, but at the same time, we got enough information to really get a feel for her character. Maybe we'll get flashbacks or whatever from their time in the governor's mansion, or probably a episode that's like a flashback for when she first met Hunter, just to kind of get intel on how they first met and everything like that, because we've heard it, but maybe we'll get to see it. Younger versions of the characters, you never know. But with that being said, I don't even know how long this video is. It could possibly be around 15 minutes or so, because I know when I hit like the 12-minute mark I had to stop because the recording software froze up, and now I'm on my second audio file and it's almost at 10 minutes long. So I don't want to keep you here too long. I could literally go about 40 minutes on this. I know I could, because there's so much we could break down. But for simplicity's sake, you know the drill. Subscribe, please. We're almost at 100,000. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. I've noticed that this week my sister videos have been out doing the Oval. So hey, that's interesting. But I did say that this episode of Sisters was arguably the best so far, so that says a lot. But make sure you comment your thoughts and all that good stuff, because any activity on the video does help. Like, comment, whatever. 100,000, man. We're almost there. We're in one more month to the haves and the have-nots. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Please leave your thoughts on this subject. Let me know, are there any other comparison videos you would like me to do, and I'll talk to you in the next video.